All right, Ryan B's question is up next. He said, we are 31 years old and on step 7 and 8 of the financial order of operations. Our post-tax investments are in S&P 500 ETFs, but they're not target retirement funds. When it comes time to asset allocate, will we be hammered by taxes?
Okay, well, hammered isn't. Ryan, you've alluded to something that is very real, right? You dollar cost average into an S&P 500 ETF or mutual fund. And you're always buying. We know that by and large, 8 out of every 10 years, the market goes up. And so those earnings and that growth compounds. And with S&P 500 fund, you get a lot of embedded gains. And so then the question becomes, all right, when it is time for me to asset locate, and when it's time for me to move from like a generalized just buy the index or buy the target retirement fund to more of a specialized asset allocation, how do I do it? It is a little nuanced because one of the things that may happen is that S&P 500 fund that you've been buying for a number of years, there may be some pretty substantial gains in there. And so you have to assess, all right, in my situation, what makes the most sense? Does it make sense for me to liquidate this S&P 500, pay the capital gains, and then redeploy and rediversify, asset allocate my diversified portfolio, and then asset locate the individual investments into the accounts that make sense? Or do I do like a dollar cost divesting strategy where I built up this S&P and now every month for the next 10 months, I'm going to sell a little bit of S&P and I'm going to redeploy? It's difficult to know which one of those makes the most sense for your situation because your personal situation is very personal and it's going to depend on your tax circumstances and the unique things that you have going on. This is why we say that once your portfolio gets to that stage, once it gets to that like critical mass, escape velocity, boiling point, it gets a little complicated. It gets a little nuanced.
Yeah, Ryan, just to give you some clarification, the reason we recommend indexed target retirement funds over just saying straight up go buy VU or whatever ETF or index fund you want to do to buy total market index or S&P, we're just trying to help less things that can go wrong. Because if you're buying an index target retirement fund, you only have to answer 2 questions. How much can I save each month? And then when will I need this money? And the rest is just you're off to the races. You're not getting drowned out by all the things that can side rail you, including your own behavioral traps. Because a lot of times it's back to, I answered a question just a few minutes ago where I talked about a brand new investor quit 3 months in just because the S&P had some volatility, and they were like, wow, I can lose money investing. And I'm like, well, it's this whole risk reward thing. There's a risk premium that you put money in, and the more risk you take, the more reward you anticipate over the long term, not the short term, but the long term. So you're already 31 years of age. You've bought these ETFs. I'm not going to pick on you about that because I think that index funds, ETFs, we like those things. This is getting into the nuance of how do you maximize your journey. And I think taxes, you're going to have taxes whether you buy the index target retirement fund, you're going to have taxes even if you buy the ETF. So it's a good problem to have. This is not something that's a negative. It means you made money, and that's a positive. I will tell you, you'll probably have some opportunities even if you take the relationship to the next level and hire a financial advisor or do somebody like that, because an ETF like the S&P 500 that you said you shared that you had, that's still probably going to be, at least 45 to 65% of your assets are probably going to want to go in some type of large cap, balance index fund like that. So you're going to be able to probably integrate that into your portfolio. And don't forget, when you have appreciated assets, whether it's the index target retirement fund or the ETF that you've bought, you have all kind of cool opportunities you can give to charity, where you can give appreciated assets. There will be ways that you can work through this. This is not a bad thing. This is it's a good problem to have. That's probably the best way to put it. But congratulations to you, Ryan, being 31 years of age, already at steps 7 and 8. Now we're getting into the minutia, whether it's the index target retirement or the ETF. I just want to give you the big congratulations.